to the Cherry Purls podcast. This is episode
80.
80. Thank you. I couldn't see my show notes.
Yeah, Pearl decided to join us.
Yeah, she usually is in here, but she's usually asleep. So today she is front and center. So if she moves the camera, I apologize in advance. But and if you see her rear end, I apologize for that as well. But we are a knitting and spinning podcast coming to you usually every other week from outside New Orleans, Louisiana. And we were going to podcast before we left for DFW, but we had a pet death in the family, so we didn't really feel like doing it before we left. But we are back, so it's going to be a pretty full episode. So if you would like to see what we finished, what we're working on, what we purchased and acquired on our trip, then stick around. I would get some knitting and a drink to enjoy and hang out with us.
Yeah, this one might be slightly longer.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yes.
So
I am Robin.
I am Mary.
And this is Pearl. You can find me as Teenybutton on Instagram and Ravelry, and my Etsy shop is Teenybutton Studio, where I sell hand-dyed yarn.
This is the one that's flipped up. Sorry. I am Snippin' Full on Ravelry, and on Instagram, I am Mary. Yeah, Cherry Pearls Mary.
And Pearl has a hashtag. It is Knittin' Kitten Pearl on Instagram, and I'll put that on the screen. Nobody uses it except for me and you, so yeah. If you want to see pictures of her, she's being so good right now. Look at her. She's being so good. She really missed us. She's been following me around.
Extra special needy since Robin returned.
Yeah, but we have a podcast group. It is Cherry Pearls Podcast on Ravelry, and that's where you can find the show notes for this episode as well as all previous episodes and links to everything we're going to talk about.
That is true.
So, as I mentioned, we got back from DFW. We had a fantastic time, as always. This was our first year participating as vendors, so definitely a different experience, but still an awful lot of fun.
It was great to see everybody.
Yeah, we love the people who come and see us every year, and I appreciate everybody who stopped by. There were a lot of people who walked by and noticed us, and they're like, oh, you guys did a vlog last year, because they recognized our faces from the vlog, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, because apparently when you type up videos for DFWs, ours is one of the first ones that pops up.
Crazy. So I've put some footage. Probably you've seen it at the beginning. We only took a little bit of footage. We didn't have enough time to do a full vlog. So you'll see the little clips that we took, and we'll talk about it more probably as we go through what we acquired. But it was a fantastic experience. Thank you to everybody who stopped by. Thank you to everybody who had well wishes for us on Instagram and on Ravelry. We really appreciate all the kind words.
Yeah, it still kind of amazes me that people are interested in meeting us, because I'm just me.
Yeah.
I'm not anybody special. I'm just as special as you are. So it kind of is kind of cool to think somebody wants to meet me, but or meet us. But we love when people come up to us and tell us hi, and I'm so glad so many people did.
Yeah, we also gave out a ton of podcast buttons, so if you are new, because you received a podcast button and you're here because of that, then welcome. We're happy to have you, and we can't wait to show you what we bought and what we worked on.
Sure.
Real quick, I just want to have a couple of Teenybutton Studio announcements. I am currently running a sale in my shop. I have about half of my skeins that I brought back from the show that I've put into the shop set to 15% off, including some skeins of my Silk Merino blend. And then I also have a promotion running that is good for free shipping on free domestic shipping on orders over $50 US. So that should be taken off automatically. If you have any issues with that, let me know. It's run pretty smoothly so far, but sometimes Etsy's a little funny with that.
This is your way of doing a Fiber Fest for people who couldn't go.
Yeah, for people who couldn't go. It's a thank you. It's such a great experience, and my heart is so full. And I feel like such a part of, such a big, it's a great community. So
I agree.
It's hard to articulate, but yeah, it's awesome. And I love everybody who came to see us and everybody who had well wishes, and I've already said that, but that's my way of trying to spread the love a little bit. Also, for anyone who's watching in the Fort Worth area, I am now carried in West 7th Wool. They came by after the show and picked up a bunch of skeins to take to the shop, so that is another place to find me locally if you are interested in seeing the yarn in person.
If you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Yes, if you are in the area. I mean, if you're coming to the area, you can go check it out. Last year, I bought like 10 skeins of Hedgehog Skinny Singles from them, so they're a great store. I haven't been to the store in person, but I've been to their booth at DFW, and it's great.
Yeah, I bought a lot from them also last year.
Yeah. So I think that's all the administrative-y quick early stuff we have to talk about. So
are we finished talking about DFW?
We can talk more at the end. Did you have something in particular?
I was going to talk about that in my class.
Oh, we'll talk about it at the end because I'm going to put the picture in.
Oh, okay. I didn't know when you wanted to do
Yeah,
that.
I'll do it at the end.
Okay.
So you want to do some finished objects?
Sure.
You got 2, I got 2. You want to go first?
I've actually got 3.
Oh, you have 3. I can't count. Go first.
Okay, so this is one of my usuals. This is a finished baby hat. This was done in, I'm trying to find where it is, Baby Bee Sweet Delight, Hobby Lobby yarn. This is just another one of my baby charity hats where I just cast on a bunch of stitches and just do my ribbing and knit till it's the right size and cast off. So
it'll fit some baby somewhere.
This is going in my pile of charity knits that you know I do all the time.
Yeah.
So that's the first finished object.
So I also have a hat. I'm going pretty quick because I'm trying not to make this like a 3-hour episode. This is the hat I was working on last week, and I finished it before we left, so I've already forgotten what it was. This is the Caramel Brulee hat by Alicia Plummer. The yarn is some Malabrigo Rios that I had in my stash. It is the teal feather colorway.
And I think last time you were worried if you had enough.
I was worried if I had enough. And a couple of you said, oh, you'll be fine. And y'all were right. I was definitely fine.
You were way fine.
Yeah, I had about 20 grams left. And as I was panicking about whether or not I would have enough yarn, I found the second skein. So now I have 125 grams of this. 120 grams of this left over, so I might make another hat, maybe not the same pattern, but it was a great pattern.
I love the color.
Yeah, it's a great color. It's a little bit greener.
Then it's showing up on video.
Yeah, but it's a great hat. It's a little bit oversized. I like them kind of oversized, like slouchy slightly. And the pom-pom is super cute. Where's the pom-pom from?
I do not remember. It was a pom-pom I gave Robin for Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go back and look it up. But
I don't think it's a big deal. It's just a little.
It's one that I bought off of
floofy.
Etsy. It was a stocking stuffer.
Yeah, little faux fur pom-pom. Pattern was great. I cabled without a cable needle because that's how I roll.
Yeah, you're crazy like that.
Yeah, it's not a big deal for me. So
it is for me.
You know, saves a little bit of time. Was a great pattern, quick knit. Probably will make another one at some point because I enjoyed it. And it was easy to remember, and it was a good kind of like in-between project because I wanted to knit with something that wasn't fingering because
You wanted a palette cleanser.
I wanted something, I wanted a palette cleanser and a thicker yarn. So this is a worsted weight. And turned out good. Turned out well. So
it looks great.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Pearl is messing with something she shouldn't be, so that's distracting me. But
when does Pearl not mess with something she should be?
Sometimes she just goes over there and sleeps.
Well, she's not on the bed.
Well, yeah, today she's a little more adventurous, but I think it looks pretty cute. It's not cold enough to wear it anymore, and it won't be until next,
Oh, it was in Dallas.
It was in Dallas. It was so cold. I wore so many knits. It was awesome.
Yeah, we don't get that often.
Yeah, I like the floofiness. It's very
floofy,
very bouncy. Yeah. So that is my first finished object.
All right. So moving on, this is something else I finished before we left town. This is a pair of socks that I knit out of Knit Picks Felici. This is Candy Shop, and then the heel that I added in was the fiber seed. Yeah, it is kind of close. The fiber seed in aqua. I had it left over from a previous project, so there's 2 of them. And I did my usual shorty socks, adding in the Fish Lips Kiss heel, the rounded toe, and I did Mina's vanilla sock recipe gusset stitches just to make sure that it fit the way I liked, and they are done. So I have no clue how many socks I've done this year. But I'm back into socks, as you will see later.
Yeah.
So that's finished object number 2.
Socks are my favorite. I love socks. We had a lot of people, I was surprised, come by and saw me knitting my sock at the show, and they were like, oh, those needles are so tiny, but it just feels like regular knitting.
Well,
once you do it enough.
If you're used to knitting in worsted yarn, they are very tiny. I remember when I first got back into knitting, I actually said I would never knit socks because they're too small.
And look at you now.
I have learned when I give what I say a thought, that when you say never, I usually end up doing what the never was. So
yeah.
And I enjoy it, so it's cool.
Yeah. I have 2 more stitches. Give me 1 sec. I have another finished object. This is, I'm not 100% happy with this, I'll be honest. This is the Half Moon Oracle Shawl, patterned by Kristen Lair. and this is the front. It's just really small. Pattern.
And this has been blocked.
No, it has not been blocked.
Oh, okay.
No.
I thought it had been blocked.
Yeah, we were going to, and then I got lazy, and it's just, yeah, it's tiny. It's just a little baby. The issue is that I went down 2 needle sizes because my gauge was so loose on the brioche section that it looked really horrible to me. So I went down to a 4 from a 6, which must have been the difference because I've seen other people's and they look fine.
What you should have done is just go down for the brioche, but gone back up for the
No,
other
because I didn't like the gauge on the rest of it too. But the brioche was especially holy.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't like the gauge. I should have just said I don't like the gauge. And I added the brioche and I added a bunch of lace at the bottom. I say a bunch, probably like 2 or 3 repeats, maybe 5 or 6 rows of brioche. But I'm really disappointed, and it's not the pattern's fault. I knew it was going to be too small as I was knitting it, and I'm like, oh, it'll block out, but it's not going to block out. It's just...
Well, when you have an I-cord edge, it doesn't give you any stretch.
That's kind of what there is give-wise in there.
Yeah,
but
it doesn't go anywhere for you.
Yeah, and it's not like because I usually wear my shawls bandana style, but it's not like I could have worn it bandana style because it's not really that kind of shawl, but like it's tiny. That's
not typically how you wear them.
Mm-mm. And I enjoyed knitting it. I really did enjoy knitting it. And I would knit it again, but I think I would knit it as more of a sample in my own yarn than knitting it to actually use, which sounds really bad. But it's an adorable pattern. It's gorgeous. It was fun to knit.
You really did enjoy knitting it.
Yeah, it was
and
great.
I remember you were excited because the way the colors go together, they all look great.
Yeah, but it's so small. I'm just disappointed in how small it is, and it's not anybody's fault but my own, and there's a stitch marker on the edge. Don't know why that's there. Not anybody's fault but my own. The pattern's great. I just should have compensated for the needle size by knitting more, and I had yarn left over, so it's not like I couldn't have knit more.
I've done that so many times. I'm worried that I've done that with one of my other projects that I finished, but I haven't blocked.
Yeah.
That I should have kept going because I still had yarn.
Oh, yeah, that one. I forgot about that one. We'll show that one in a second. So, the yarns, this is Stranded Dye Works Solo in the Hazardous colorway. That's the yellow.
Yep, right here.
Yeah. The black is Teenybutton Studio Solo and Dementor's Kiss. And this bright green is Dream in Color Jilly and Get Down Greenie. And I did not enjoy knitting with the Jilly. So if I had it, I don't think I will be purchasing Dream in Color yarn again. Just because I've had 3 very bad experiences with 3 different bases from them. I think I've mentioned that before.
And see, I've never had trouble with them.
Yeah, I just had bad luck, I guess.
I think it's you.
Yeah, but the other 2 yarns were great. I mean, one of them is my own, so I enjoy knitting with my own yarn. But the Stranded Dye Works yarn was great. And it's knit in singles, which is probably why I enjoyed it so much, because y'all know I love singles.
You do love singles.
I will block it. I probably won't show it again after I block it, but I'll post it on Instagram. But it's not going to grow that much because of the I-cord.
Yeah, it will grow this way, down.
It'll stretch downward, but it won't.
But it's not going to get any wider.
Yeah, it doesn't look that small on camera, but like it really...
But a while ago when you showed it on, you could tell that it wasn't the length that you prefer your shawls to be.
It's like not even... like half my
and some people do prefer shawls that size. Yeah. You know, I like a really big shawl. So
yeah, I do too.
That wouldn't make me happy, but there are tons of people who like shawls that size.
Yep. So enjoyable knit, just a little small. Know that for next time, so I can knit it bigger whenever I do my next one, because it will be doing another one. So
you put it in your project notes.
Yep.
Dear Robin, make it longer.
So that's my other finished object, but you got 2 more?
Well, I've got 1 more. I'm counting that as not finished because I don't count it finished until it's blocked. So what's wrong? Your yarn broke? Did someone bite it?
Yeah, I was going to knit some more, but I guess I'm not.
Is that what she chewed your yarn into?
Yes. Well, I'll show that in a second. Jesus. Yeah.
Okay. So my last finished object is my design cowl that I started working on a little while back. I will be tweaking this pattern and knitting it again. There's some changes I want to make to it. This was done with several minis of various leftover yarn that I have for various projects. I'm not going to go into each one of them, but if you want to know specifically which one they are, I have it on my project page. This would be color 1 at the bottom because it's knit from the bottom up. So if you see a color that you want to know what it is, that's how you can find out what color it is.
There's 10 colors, right?
There's 10 colors, and I really enjoyed knitting it, and I'm just going to give it a little tweak, and this will be part of what I hope to be a series of 3 designs coming out later this year. So that's that. That's my 3rd finished project.
What's your 3rd thing?
My 3rd thing.
Yeah. You want to show your not quite finished?
Okay, so this is my therapy shawl. This is by Laura Ayler.
This is her knit-along pattern this month, right? Or this,
yes.
This
if you go into her Ravelry group, she does a knit-along, and then if you participate in the knit-along and finish it, then you have the opportunity to choose another one of her patterns for free. And so I had this in my queue for a very long time, and when I saw it came up as the pattern, I was very excited because it got it out of my queue, which things will go in there and live in there forever.
Mm-hmm.
So let me find where this is. This
on the back
is
right there.
Oh, okay, good deal. Okay, so the gray color right here is Anzula Squishy in Elephant. The green right here is October House Fiber Arts Sojourn Sock in Meadow. And the pink, which is down here, is Madeline Tosh Sock, and the colorway in that is Fragrant.
That was your Mother's Day present for last year.
It was. Yeah. And Robin helped me put these colors together. I knew I wanted to do something with the elephant and meadow, but I wasn't sure what other color to go with. And Robin's like, oh, this would work perfectly. And as usual, she was correct.
It'd be nice with a lighter gray, too, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
I have a lot of lighter grays, but I kind of was wanting to use this charcoal color because it had been sitting there for a while. And I do like it with that color. This was a very fun knit. You do a lot of fun striping and a lot of good garter and a little bit of eyelet lace. And it went was a very quick knit. I did add what I thought was some extra at the end, and because I wasn't looking at the pattern, I was just, going back and forth in garter, and I said that looks good, and then when I went back, I ended exactly at the right place.
Wow.
I did add a contrasting color for the bind off. Normally the pattern doesn't call for that. You would just bind off in the whatever color you used last, but I thought it'd be fun to bring that charcoal in one last time. I kind of wish now it was bigger.
It's so little.
It is.
But it's
a shallow shawl, and I'm okay with shallow. I just want a long shawl.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's more than my wingspan, so
it's long.
It's long.
Yeah. It's long, but I could use even longer. I'm fine with even longer. One of the viewers asked about, I've talked several times about how I'm an aggressive blocker. And so we'll film a little footage for the next podcast showing how I do aggressive blocking. It's really not anything. I just pull it really hard.
Yeah.
But we can show some video of it, of how I pin it out and block it. And I've gotten to where I almost exclusively do dry blocking.
Pin and spritz.
Yeah, the pin and spray, where I block it all out and then I spray it with water instead of soaking it and then blocking it out.
Yeah.
Just I don't know. I don't want any of my colors to run.
Yeah.
I've had too many projects ruined.
Yeah. Well, what we'll do is we'll film the footage, and then next week or next episode, I'll put it in the question section, and you can talk over it and talk about what you do.
Sure.
So we can talk about that.
And then you can see if it's grown any.
Yeah. We should measure it before and after.
But yeah, I sometimes, not always, but sometimes in my project notes I'll put what the pre-blocked and post-block sizes are.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's I'm counting this as a work
still?
in progress
Yeah.
still, because I usually wait until it's blocked to count it as finished on my project pages.
Yeah. Okay, so I was reviewing the footage that we took for the podcast and realized that out of our almost 2-hour episode, it only recorded the first 20 minutes. So here we are. We are now, what is today, Thursday?
Yeah.
We were recording on Tuesday, so now we are coming to you from the future, from the last bit of the episode. So we are going to just roll on from where it stopped. We're a little bit further on in our project, so that's cool. You can see more more progress.
Yeah,
but,
actually put the heel in of the sock I talked about.
So I'm going to start with what I was talking about, and I'll probably cut that bit out. So this will be new to y'all. Y'all haven't seen this. This is work in progress. I think this is the first one I showed. This is my Brunch at Commander socks. So this is some yarn. This was my sample sock to work on during the show while we were vending, and I was sitting behind the booth talking to people. So this is my colorway Brunch at Commander's. This was part of a kit that I did with Lynn at Sunshine and Bubblegum. And I used my Butterbeer colorway in a 20 gram mini for heels and toes, although I just reversed that. So it's on my soft sock base, which is my 75-25. And y'all may remember I was having some trouble with the sock last time. I usually cast on 68 stitches, and for some reason that was turning out way too big, so I went down to 64.
That's on a size 1 needle.
On a size 1. And I went down to a 64 stitch, and that didn't work. So then I went down to a 60, and that fit okay, but I didn't like the gauge. So I'm now knitting these on a size 0. US size 0. These are Chiaogus or Chiaogus, however you want to say it. And I like this gauge a lot better, and I'm back up to 68 stitches, and it fits great. So that is what I decided to do. I'm happy with my decision. 68 stitches. I did a Fish Lips Kiss Heel, which y'all have seen before if you've watched us before, Fish Lips Kiss Heel. And nothing much to say. It's just a vanilla sock. I like to have a sock in my own yarn to work on while I'm either at knit group or, at a show or something, so I can show how things knit up. It's, another sample that I can have on hand to show how the colorways work up. So, not a whole lot to say here. This yarn was attached to my cake, and then Pearl happened. So, I think she chewed through it, which she doesn't usually do, but she just might have been in the mood for chewing on some yarn.
Well, you know what I think? I think she was having her brunch at Commander's.
Maybe she was brunching on my sock. Yeah.
On your yarn.
Wool, it's what's for brunch.
According to Pearl.
Yeah, so that is my first work in progress.
Okay, well, I will show you what I'm working on. I'm kind of in the middle of a row, but no big deal. When I was planning on what projects to bring to DFW, my mind was, hey, I'll just bring yarn that I bought at previous DFW events. And so I packed 2 different colorways of mustache, which I am always crazy about and can't get enough of. But as I was sitting in Robin's booth and knitting on that sock, I was getting a little bit of mommy guilt and thinking, if I'm sitting in Robin's booth, I should be knitting with Robin's yarn. So I pulled a skein off of the wall and went over to the yarn winding booth that the ladies have with one of the spinning guilds and had this caked up. And so this is Robin's spiked
chocolate cauldrons.
I can't always get confused with spiked or spiced. Spiked chocolate cauldrons on soft sock.
Well, they're spiked with Love Potion.
True. And I love the colors and the way it's knitting up. When I showed it to you in the previous podcast that you'll never see, I had not put the heel in, but I did the heel last night. The heel is done in chicory. So this is the usual, my usual sock setup. I do a rounded toe and then a Fish Lips Kiss heel, and then I'll work a small bit up from that point because I enjoy shorty socks. And typically I work on socks concurrently, 2 at a time concurrently, but I only brought 1 pair of needles to the show, and the other pair was on the sock that I was wearing. One other set was on the set that I was working on, so I haven't started the second one of this one yet. Waiting for some needles to be freed.
Yeah. So you're gonna do finish one and then
finish one, finish the other one, and then finish this one probably because I want to get this into Candace's cowl.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that is.
Talk about that in a second.
Work in progress number 1.
I'm gonna finish this row eventually, but I'll go and then I'll.
Do you want me to go ahead and go?
Sure.
Okay, so the sock that I originally brought to work on is a sock knit in mustache yarn, and this is in Beauty and Her Beast colorway. I am a huge fan of Beauty and the Beast, and Robin got me this year as a gift for Mother's Day, birthday, Christmas. I can't remember which one.
Yeah.
I have completed the heel in this one. It is done in Madeline Tosh sock in the colorway Favorite Pair. And I have started to do some of the knitting up the leg. So you can see the short little bit here that I've done after the heel. And this is what it looks like in the cake. It's kind of getting elongated there.
Spoon-shaped.
Yeah, so this is some of her perfect sock and must match perfect sock. So the other cake is ready to go on the second sock.
Yeah, you have some more yarn, and that's in a similar colorway you're going to show in a little bit, right?
Yeah, I'll show in a little bit in my acquisitions and throw me something, mister. So that is my second work in progress.
Talk some more.
Okay.
I'm so close. No, hang on. You want to show my sock?
Sure.
Okay.
You can talk about it, and I will hold it up.
So this is my mustache sock that I brought with me to work on at DFW. I bought this yarn last year. It is her
Let's see, get the
perfect sock.
needle going this way because it's getting, there we go.
Must match put-ups.
There we go.
Colorway is Family Reunion.
Look how pretty that is.
And it is so much fun. I thought it was nice and springy, so I cast it on. I cast on the first for Candace of the Pin Feathers and Pearls Stripey Socks knit along. And I thought it would be really good car knitting because I was going to do, or am going to do, a cut-in afterthought heel.
Somewhere.
So there is no heel, as you may see. Nothing up my sleeves, nothing in the heels. So I'm going to cut it in, and I'm going to do it with the contrast color, which is in the
contrast
bag.
color is here. This is also mustache?
Yeah, she has a whole revolving rack of solid 20-gram minis to use for heels and toes, which I really appreciate. And it matched pretty closely. So I am pretty happy with my color choice. I use for the heels, I'm going to use the Kirby Werby tutorial, her method for cutting in a heel, and then I'm going to use the Smooth Operator pattern by Susan B. Anderson because I like the single line of decreases that she does for that particular pattern. What are you looking at?
Just seeing how yours knits up versus how mine's. Yeah. Yours is a little wider than mine.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like them a little bit looser because I use them as bed socks.
Yeah, I don't use mine as bed socks. I do just wear them around the house, but I also will wear them in shoes sometimes.
Yeah. So we are always happy to see Stacy at DFW. We picked up some yarn from her that we'll show you in a minute, and it's fun to knit up. She has great color sense. So
100%.
Yeah. I think I'm just gonna knit until I run out of yarn until I get close, and I don't think I'm gonna do the cuff in the same color. I say that, but I might change my mind.
This is what it looks like in the cake. All the pretty colors coming out of it. Robin is one who likes to pull from the outside of the cake. Mm-hmm. I pull from the inside of the cake, so it's interesting to see how it comes off. Yeah. All right.
So this is my last work in progress.
Okay. Okay, good.
This is my last work in progress. This is the Helen Stewart Mystery Knit Along. I am one row from finishing Clue 1. So if you have not finished Clue 1 and you don't want to be spoiled, then look away. And we'll give you some sort of auditory hint when to come back if you want to click out of the tab or just go and do something else.
Or just listen with your eyes closed.
Yes. So this is what I have so far.
Do you need me to hold the other side?
Sure.
Okay, let me finish this stitch.
So it is the Helen Stewart Mystery Impressionist Mystery Knit Along. And she said that you need a light, a medium, and a dark. So my dark is my own Teenybutton Studio yarn. I'm using my solo singles base. What do you have, Buzz?
Pearl fur.
Oh. This colorway is Mulligrubs. This was the colorway for August of last year for the Harry Potter Club. This is my light color. This is called the Owlry. The Owlry, there it is. And then this one is a new colorway as well. The Owlry and this one are both new colorways, especially for this shawl. And this one is called Death Day Party. So that's my medium. So this is how they look together. And I did do kits, ready to ship kits. I think I'm sold out, but I will try to have more either for tomorrow, this Friday's update, or for next Friday's update. Or I might just do them dyed to order. I have to think about that. I'm going to do another colorway dyed to order, so I need to kind of think about what I have time to do. So this is how it looks so far. It's been a great knit. It doesn't go very quickly because there's so many stitches, but I like how the colors are playing with each other, and I'm excited to move on to Clue 2 because what I've seen looks very interesting. So, yeah, today's Thursday. Clue 3 comes out Saturday. So I probably won't finish Clue 2, although Clue 2 is supposed to be less knitting. I think she said Clue 1 was 30% and Clue 2 is about 20% of that final knitting shawl.
How many total clues did she do?
4. Yeah, so it's probably going to be 50% by the end of Clue 2 sounds about right.
Yeah.
So, enjoying it so far. I love how it's working up. Yeah, not a whole lot to say. I don't want to give any spoilers. It's a paid-for pattern. It's an awesome pattern. Everybody's knitting it.
Well, Helen does wonderful patterns.
Yeah, we talked about this the last episode we recorded that got lost. I wouldn't do a mystery knit along for just anybody. Like Stephen West, I've done his mystery knit alongs before, and I haven't. Not that I haven't loved the design, but I just haven't felt like it was very wearable for me. But Helen is pretty consistent with her shapes, and she doesn't do anything too crazy out of the box. So I figured I was pretty safe. And if I don't like it, I can always use it as a shop sample.
Cool.
So that is my last work in progress. Feels like we went through that a lot faster than we did last time.
I know we did.
Yeah, our last episode ended up being almost 2 hours.
There were quite a few tangents.
Yeah. So I guess we're ready to move on to Throw Me Something, Mister?
Yes.
So we have attended DFW Fiberfest, as I'm sure we've talked about. So we have some stash from that, but I have some pre-stash that I'm going to show. Is it okay if I go first?
Yeah, well, you did last time because we're kind of doing it in order that it arrived. Yeah. So Robin had some lovelies that came in the mail before we left.
Yeah. So this is a skein that I bought from a D-stash. This is the one I was looking for last episode and couldn't find, and it was over there with the rest of the yarn. It's always, in the place it's supposed to be that I don't look. So this is London House yarn. And this is her, you said it was soft sock, right?
Yes, that's how it comes up in the Ravelry.
Yeah.
What's the word I want?
Database.
Directory?
Database. The tag just says 75 merino, 25 nylon. And the colorway is Hermione's Jumper. And I'm pretty sure it is a self-striping. So I'll be interested to see how that knits up. She did the... Excuse me, I got the hiccups. She did the Yule Ball colorway that I did my Christmas Eve cast-on socks with. So I really love her yarn, and I'm glad to have this skein. Although I am still looking, I'm going to put this out in the universe. If you have a skein of number 12, Christmas set number 12 Ramon Place, and you don't want it, or you want to sell it to me, I will happily buy it, because that one's hard to get a hold of. That's one of her other colorways that I really want. But I am happy to have this one, and I'm excited to see how it knits up. So maybe for this Christmas, I don't know. Just going to let it marinate with the rest of its friends and see what it wants to be. Or, yeah. It's going to be socks, but when it wants to be knit up.
Yep, go play.
Yeah. So this is the second skein that I received from a D-stash this week. And y'all may remember I purchased these two skeins from the Indie Untangled. They did a pre-order for the Rhinebeck colorway. This was their Rhinebeck colorway last year, and you could buy it at Indie Untangled. There's the colorway name.
They being La Bien-Aimée?
Yeah, well, La Bien-Aimée dyed it for Indie Untangled, and then you could purchase it at Indie Untangled, and then the Indie Untangled did online pre-orders for those who weren't able to make it. So I purchased. I bought these two skeins, and I saw Andrea Mowry came out with her Baubles shawl recently, and I thought that this would be perfect because it's actually the same base. She uses this base for that pattern, and I have these two. And you need two skeins of a main color and then two contrast colors. So I have this one. This is also on the Merino singles. This is the Sari colorway, S-A-R-I. And I thought that went very well with those.
I agree.
And then I was trawling some D-stashes on Ravelry. And I saw this skein. Also Merino singles.
To go with it.
Yeah, this is called Isle of Arran. Oops, and it's escaping. So that is going to be...
something beautiful.
That's going to be my Baubles shawl. Whenever I get around to it. So this one I purchased this week from a D-stash. It came from Canada, and it was actually a really good deal. It was a lot cheaper than getting it from Paris. So that's always great. But I love those together. I'm so excited. I love those speckles. So this is going to be like some reward knitting. Like if there's something I don't want to do, or if I'm getting tired of, finishing a project and I'm like, I just want this to be over, this will be my, if you finish that, you can cast this on sort of incentive.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. So that is what I got. Nope, that's not what I got pre DFW. I got this one last skein. This is from Countess Ablaze, and this is a skein of yarn. She has a whole story about it. I'm not going to go into it. Because last time our podcast was almost 2 hours, so I'm going to kind of cut out the extraneous bits. But if you're interested in the story behind this one, she talks about it on the Shiny Bees podcast. Can't remember what episode number, but it's a couple episodes back. And then I think she also did a blog post about it on her blog. So, long story short, a percentage of sales of the proceeds from this yarn went to the Women's Aid Foundation. Yeah. And I got this on her Grande Merino DK. And I am not going to say the colorway name, because even though I don't care about certain 4-letter words, I'm not going to want to offend anybody else. So you can read it, not say it. There is the colorway name.
And the colorway name is explained in her story.
Yeah, it's a pretty, it's not necessarily a humorous story, because it's kind of crappy what happened.
I think it's a bit maddening.
The way that she handled it is very, very commendable. So, if you're interested in that, again, that's the Shiny Bees podcast or the Countess Ablaze. I think she talks about it on her blog. And I just want to show this. The inside of her labels are printed, which I think is super cool. Very cool. I didn't know she did that. This is the first time I've ever used her yarn. So I thought that was very interesting.
That is cool.
Yep. So that is all my pre-DFW stash.
All right.
So you want to go next?
Sure. So now we're at DFW, and as always, I must run and get some of my favorites. And the thing I ran to as soon as I could was my first purchase was this beautiful cake of Panorama Fiber Arts, and this is her shade shifting gradient yarn. This is one of her 600 yard cakes. And I wanted to get a bigger one because I like a bigger shawl. I've worked in her smaller cakes, which are 450 yards, and I loved the project that I made, but this time I wanted to go up to 600. The colorway is Cirque, and you can see that it fades from a beautiful purpley lavender color to a teal to a little bit of, I don't know, crazy green in the center. Some people call that acid green, lime green, kind of a fluorescent green in the center. So that was my very first purchase.
So I got one as well. Let's show them together so we can see the size.
Sure.
I got the 450 yard cake. So there's the size difference. I plan to stripe mine with a white, so that's why I got a little bit of a smaller cake. You didn't say the base.
Oh, well, it's the same base.
It's Traveler Sock. It's 75 merino, 15% nylon, and 10% tencel. So that's an interesting blend you don't see very often. But this colorway is Sorbet, because you know I love me some pastels. There's Panorama Fiber Arts, and she's super sweet. Heather's super sweet, and she was right inside the door, so she had a really good location. And I am excited to see what this becomes.
Yeah, we had a great interview with Heather last year when we did our DFW vlog. If you're interested in seeing the dyer behind the shirt.
Yep. So that is our first acquisition. We got that on the first day. We did that the first morning, right?
I got even before the show opened.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to make sure I got what I was looking for. Plus, I was yarn muling for my friend Denise, and I wanted to make sure she got what she had. Yeah, she wanted. As soon as Robin could spare me, I ran over to my another love, which is Mustache, and I may have purchased
a little bit
of Mustache. I think that's all of them.
You had 7.
Let's see.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So Stacy is amazing as usual, and she does this thing where she will sell mill-ins, so they're not 100-gram skeins, but depending on what you're making with them, you may not need 100-gram for your project. I like to make shorter socks, and then especially if I put in contrast heels or toes or something like that, I definitely wouldn't use all 100 grams. So I wanted to get some of her mill-ins and get some really great deals on some beautiful yarn. So this one is 63 grams, and this is, falling off my leg, Family Reunion. So that's the first one. The second one I bought is Belle. So that's a companion to this sock. So this is Beauty and Her Beast. This is Belle. And this one is 75 grams. Then the next one I bought is Leia, because I wanted to get that. I know Robin knit with that earlier, and I had always wanted to get this colorway.
That was Larry's Christmas socks for last year.
And this is 61 grams. Then this one is Shiny Happy People, and it's 63.5 grams. Then this one is Chocolate Bunny Cake, which I fell in love with the name, and it is 71.5 grams. And the last partial skein that I bought is The Boy Who Lived, and it is 64 grams. And Robin also got one.
Yeah, mine is 82.5. So
yeah,
I can knit a full pair of socks with that easy.
And I can as well.
Yeah, but you would knit shorties.
Yeah, well, it's still a full pair of socks.
Well, it's not a full pair of socks because it's short cuffs.
How is it not a full pair of socks?
Well, it's a full pair, but it's not like a full-size pair.
Well, I didn't say it was a full-size pair.
I can knit a full-size pair with this skein of yarn.
I did buy one 100-gram skein. She did not have this in a mill-in, and I fell in love with all the colors in it. And this one is called Woodstock. So that was my mustache purchase.
And then I bought a full-size skein as well. This is her boba colorway after Boba Fett. That's what you're shaking the...
I'm sorry, I just didn't want it to hit the floor.
You I would put it on the table.
Well, it's fine right there for me. I'm afraid I'll jiggle the table more moving it.
Mm-hmm. So this is the boba colorway. This is part of her Star Wars line. And this is, again, for Larry, because that's his favorite Star Wars character. I don't know anything about Boba Fett. I know that's his name. I know he's a bounty hunter, but I'm not a Star Wars person. I haven't seen all the movies. But, I mean, you shake your head, but, like, it's not for everybody, so.
No, Star Wars is for everybody.
No, it's not for everybody.
Star Wars is for everybody. Harry Potter is for everybody. Lord of the Rings is for everybody.
So,
the Princess Bride is for everybody.
Princess Bride is for everybody. So, this is the Boba Fett colorway, and will be socks for Larry maybe this Christmas, maybe next Christmas, maybe a Christmas 20 years from now. But I have it to knit socks eventually, so.
It's in line.
Yeah, that is my mustache stash.
So another great dyer I needed to make a yarn purchase from is Night Owl Fibers. And Rachel makes beautiful yarn. She also has a podcast. So this is one of her lovely gobstoppers in BFL. And the colorway is Happy Feet. And my last yarn purchase is a beautiful skein of, look at this, Brazen Stitchery yarn. And sometimes you buy yarn because you love the colors. Sometimes you buy the yarn because you love the name. And in this case, it was both. This colorway is called Skittles. And we had a dog named Skittles. And when I saw it, I knew it had to come home with me. So that was my last yarn purchase.
Yeah. So I bought one more skein.
I forgot. I'm sorry. I jumped in.
Oh, you're good. No, just stick it at the end. This is a skein from October House Fiber Arts, and it is her Sojourn sock, and it is the Sea Glass colorway. And I had bought this with the intention of doing Helen Stewart's new mystery, Helen Stewart's Handmade Sock Society, the new pattern that just came out. But I actually think I'm going to wait, because I think that this particular pattern will look okay in a speckled yarn that I've been wanting to use. So I'm going to do that and save this for another sock. So it is her 75-25, and it will be perfect for socks eventually.
Oh, it's such a beautiful color.
Gorgeous. We love all Robin's yarn. She has a great name.
So that she does have a great name.
Yeah, that is all of our acquisitions. Is that right?
Nope. I had one more acquisition. If you watch the beginning of the podcast, when we recorded the other day, you'll see that I had a pink shirt on that had a little sheep on it, and it said "Lay flat to dry." I bought that on the very last day from our neighbors. They were right across the aisle from us. Knit Bob Purl had really, really cute t-shirts, wine glasses, keychains, cards, all sorts of adorable things with sheep. And all weekend, I'm like, should I spend money on a shirt? Do I need a shirt? And finally, at the very end, I said, if I don't do it, I'm going to regret it. And I'm very glad that I did. Yeah. So I did wear that on the, you'll see me wearing that at the beginning of the podcast.
Show you the student bag.
Oh, okay. I did take a class this year. And this is the bag that you got if you were a student. It was filled with lots of little goodies and some discount codes, pens, pencils, keychains, things like that. Every year DFW does a really nice bag for the students. This year it has a double handle on it and some really nice pockets on it. And these are all of the sponsors that participated this year, and there's
I think there's different levels. There's like blue, gold, white.
Yeah, there are different levels.
Yeah,
of
so that's not all the sponsors. That's
no,
like
those are
top.
some of the sponsors. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I got that for taking my one class.
Yeah. You didn't bring your books back, did you?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. They did the Friday night talk with Franklin Habit.
So are we moving into Lanyap?
Oh yeah, I mean we're talking about DFW,
yeah.
so
okay.
It just kind of fits here.
Sure.
We did the Friday night talk with Franklin Habit. He was hilarious.
Oh, he's wonderful. If you ever get a chance to hear him speak, you will have a wonderful time.
Yeah. So they did a book signing after, and you brought some books to get signed, and I did not bring any books, and I kind of regret that now. But I was just sort of running out the door, and I'm like, I'll worry about that.
Yeah, I had one signed by Franklin and one signed by Stephanie Pro McPhee.
Yep. So that was really enjoyable. Do you have anything else to talk about?
I did take a class. I took the Fixes In with Stephanie Pro McPhee. It was the class we were scheduled to take last year, but was canceled when her first grandson was born, first grandchild period.
Her only grandchild at this point, but he was her first.
Yes. And so I took that class, had an amazing time. I will admit that I took the class because I wanted to take any class by her, and I wasn't sure how much I was going to learn, but I was surprised at how much I did learn. There were some things I already knew how to do, like to fix a drop stitch and things like that, but she covered all sorts of interesting information, actually going back to the beginning of what the history of knitting was and when it came about and things like that. So I would take a million classes with her. I did sneak into the class early, and I was able to talk to her one-on-one for a little bit, which I had a bit of a fangirl moment there. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that I was able to take a picture with her.
I'll stick it in here.
And I am going to force Robin to take a class with her next time if it's available, because she had the same opportunity to retake the class this year, but since she was vending, didn't feel comfortable doing so. But I think she trusts me enough now with the square reader, and I can handle things while she's gone. And I hope you do take the class.
Yeah. Well, I knew that you wanted to take it, so I didn't want us both to take it at the same time. And I know we could have gotten priority registration, but I'll take a class eventually.
I mean, the class you could have taken it at a different time, but I understand. I probably would have made the same decision. So, yeah. So we had a fabulous time. The show was amazing as usual. It was double the size. They had the vibratory. They had a braid to scarf competition, which was so much fun to watch the ladies spinning and then weaving the yarn. They had silkworm demonstration. Just so much fun. And we saw Hedda, the service dog. I look for her every year.
Yeah. So, you want to move on to our question?
Sure.
We have 2 questions this week. One of them I think we mentioned earlier. Somebody asked if you could do a blocking tutorial, so we will possibly do that in the future, and we're going to put a video in if we do that.
Yeah, I'm going to be blocking the therapy, and so we'll see if we can do a little recording of that. I don't do anything special, really, except pull it pretty tight when I do the blocking, because I like things big. And I'm not a huge fan of garter, so I have no problem blocking garter out. You know, I don't care if it's squishy.
Yeah, well, we can talk more about that whenever we actually do the video and answer the question and all that stuff, because that way people only have to look in one place.
Sure.
But we do have 2 questions we're going to answer real quick. This is from the same person, Rhea, who is Gonza044. So she asks, I would love to know your favorite budget yarns. I love my wool as much as the next knitter, but sometimes I think I would love a garment I can wash and dry without hesitation. You know, something that goes in the laundry pile without policing if my husband is switching the wash. I'm looking for something with low pilling and soft. I know they're starting to make acrylics that fit this bill. I'm wondering if you have any experience with them and which ones you like. I would also love baby knits, recommendations, patterns, and especially yarns. Love your podcast. Can't wait to watch a new episode up soon. So you pulled some yarns out, right?
Yes. One acrylic yarn that I really like. I do a lot of charity knitting with all of the regular workhorse yarns that you can find at Hobby Lobby and Michael's and Joann's, and all of those are wonderful. And if I were knitting Accessories such as hats and scarves and mittens, gloves, those kinds of things, I wouldn't hesitate to use any of those. In terms of other acrylics, Knit Picks makes some really nice ones. In terms of washability, this is also a good one. This is Barocco Comfort DK and just regular Barocco Comfort. I'll buy these. They're very, very soft, and a lot of times I'll buy these when I find them on sale for chemo caps and things such as that because it's really, really soft, and I haven't had a lot of problems with them pilling.
So it's 50% acrylic, 50% nylon.
Mm-hmm.
That we should say it's not just acrylic. I mean, nylon is still not a natural fiber, but it's got some nylon in there.
Yeah. In terms of if I were doing some garment knitting, I don't know if I would knit something in acrylic for myself. I would if it were something I was giving to somebody else, or if it were a baby knit, I would definitely make sure it had washability. But Knit Picks Swish is a really, really nice superwash that does wash up well, and I've used it for hats and things like that. I haven't knit a lot of baby garments, so I haven't knit any baby garments. I usually just do accessories, hats, and booties and things like that. And those I typically will do in acrylics or a superwash wool. But what I like to do whenever I'm trying to look for a new yarn that I haven't really used before, I go and I read the reviews on Knit Picks, on Joann's, Michael's, all the different sites,
the Ravelry
especially
comments.
in Ravelry. People are very good about talking about how much they like a yarn or how much they don't like a yarn, and that's where you're going to find some information about whether or not it's splitty or if it pills or different things like that. And if I don't know anything about it, that's the first thing I do is I go and look and see what everybody else thinks about it. So I hope that we answered your question.
Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to add because I don't really use a whole lot of washable yarn. I do know Cascade has some nice superwash.
Cascade has some wonderful superwash.
Knit Picks Brava is a decent acrylic. But I don't have a whole lot of experience with it. In terms of baby knits, neither of us has ever knit a baby garment. But if I had to pick a baby garment in it, I think I'd make the baby surprise jacket.
Yeah, that looks like it's really cute.
I know that's not really helpful, but...
Well, if you're looking for hat patterns, I've knit an awful lot of baby hat patterns. So if you go back and look in my projects, you can see what the pattern names are there. If you're not looking for hats... and you are looking for garments per se, again, Ravelry's database of patterns, you can do a search by, which ones have the most finished projects, which ones, are the most popular, that kind of thing. And that's kind of how I do a search for patterns when I'm not familiar too much with something. If I ever knit a baby sweater and I don't want to do the baby surprise jacket, that's why I will start looking for something that catches my eye.
Yeah. So she had a second question. She asked, can you ladies advise your favorite bind-off for toe-up socks? I just started my first toe-up. Thanks for the help, Robin, and I'm curious which one you think looks the best. I don't want a weird ripple at the top of my sock. So we both use the Jenny Surprisingly Stretchy bind-off, and that is the one that will give you the flare at the top of your sock. So, yeah, that's the one I recommend, even though it does give a funky top to it. But if it's on your leg or if it's on a sock blocker for photos or whatever, you're not going to really notice.
Yeah, I only notice it if I'm holding it up. If I'm just holding it up like this, I'll notice that it flares. But once it's on my leg, I don't see a flare. Yeah. It's not like I see a space in between my leg and the sock. Mm-hmm. So if you do, I'm not really sure how to help you then. That's a really great bind-off and one that, we use.
Well, I've tried the sewn bind-off before, and I ended up ripping that one out because it wasn't stretchy enough. So I only use the Jenny Surprisingly Stretchy bind-off. But if you don't worry about the bind-off fitting your calf, if that's not really a concern for you, I mean, obviously you want it to fit. But if you don't have like a chunkier calf like I do, then maybe you can try the sewn bind-off. I think it's the Elizabeth Zimmerman sewn bind-off. Mm-hmm. That may be an option. But it is going to have a little bit of an angle to it because you need to bind off in the ribbing pattern for it to look right. I guess you could do it without, but I like the way that it looks whenever you follow the pattern. So that's just kind of how it is whenever you bind off a toe-up sock. So hopefully that answered your question. We do like the Jenny Surprisingly Stretchy Bind Off the best. But I'm sure there's tons out there to try. So
if we run across any, we will make sure to pass it on.
Yes. So that is it for our questions. Like we said, we're gonna possibly film some footage and stick it in the next episode once you block your therapy shawl.
Sure.
And I think we have a question for them.
Yes, we do. So earlier we were talking about going to DFW, and later on this year we'll be heading over to Rhinebeck. And so our question for you this week is, how far would you travel to go to a fiber festival? Do you have a limit of staying in your state? Do you have a limit of so many miles, or would you go anywhere in the world? So let us know how far you would travel to go to a fiber festival.
Yeah. So obviously for us, we are thinking about a trip to Edinburgh.
Oh, I'd love to.
In the future. So we're not restricted by state or country.
Well, we're restricted by money for now.
Yes, so that's kind of our restriction.
Yes.
But it's on the list. It's on the bucket list.
Yes.
So we'll get to it eventually, but that's how far we would go for
in the
Fiber
future.
Festival.
Well, I'd go if there was something anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was amazing. I'd definitely put it on the list.
Yeah, we'll travel for yarn.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that's all the knitting content we have for y'all. Is that everything?
I mentioned this last time. I'd like to mention it again. As some of you know, we lost one of our cats on the Monday before we left to go to DFW, and Robin posted about it on her Instagram. I would like to thank everyone who commented with well wishes and kept us in their thoughts and prayers. You know, we had her for 16 and a half, 17 years, and we miss her a lot, and we know that you treat your fur babies like they are babies, and we do as well, and we appreciate everybody's thoughts.
Yeah. Yes. It's hard, and even though, it was the right decision to make, it's just, it's just different. It's like a new sort of thing. It's weird not to see her curled up by the fireplace, but yeah, we do appreciate everybody who's thinking of us, or, yeah, it was nice to have the distraction, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of DFW. So the timing could have been worse, but there's never,
never a good time.
It's never a fun decision to make. But yeah, we appreciate it. So
thank you.
Yeah.
So now shop update information.
Yes, kind of. Last time I had this big old thing of yarn, and I was going to show y'all everything that was in the shop and everything that's going into the shop, and I'm not going to do that. Partly because I feel lazy today, and partly because I don't want to have another 2-hour episode. So I'm going to tell you how the shop update is going to work, and then I will show you the Harry Potter Club and some things that are going into the shop tomorrow, just 1 or 2 things that are going into the shop. So Tuesday, whenever we got back from DFW, we took all the yarn, laid it out on the table, inventoried it, and then I did some I'm saving for my next show, some is going in the Harry Potter update, and then some is going in tomorrow's update, and some went back into the shop. So there are currently about 40 skeins in the shop, and I think about half of those are currently offered at 15% off. So if that is something that interests you, a lot of those are colorways that I'm not going to dye again or not going to dye again on that particular base. So if you like it, I would grab it now if you have the chance. Tomorrow's shop update is going to have a little bit of everything. My newsletter subscribers are going to be receiving a newsletter with a sneak peek in about 2 hours. So if that's something you're interested in, if you want to sign up for my newsletter, I'll link it down below, and it's also linked in my Instagram profile. So I'm going to have some lace weight for the first time. I'm probably not going to have it again because I ordered it by accident when I was ordering my silky sock base. It is a 80/20 silk, 80/20 merino silk. It's a lace weight, 875 yards. So if you like lace weight, now's your chance to get it because I will not be having it again. I also have my sprinkle sock, which is a rainbow tweed, superwash merino and rainbow tweed. It's perfect for baby knit, so I'll have some skeins of that. I'm trying to think what else. I will have some silky sock. This is new. This is on silky sock. This is my new rose gold colorway. So just a soft, soft warm-toned pink. So I have plenty of this on silk. I have it on Aran weight.
Such a beautiful color.
I really love it. I think I have some on cashmere. I'm not entirely sure. I actually haven't gone through and written down what's in the update yet, but it's all in a bin. So I need to go through and do that today. There are going to be, pardon my reach, snap closed notions cases. These are actually already in the shop. So that is how they look. They have a large compartment, fits a darning needle, mini scissors, a very small tape measure if you have a skinny tape measure. And then this side fits stitch markers or scrap yarn or whatever you'd like to fit in there. And then it snaps closed and it's pretty tight. Has Teenybutton Studio sticker on the front. So I have a bunch of these. These are $5 each. And then I also have handmade faux fur pom-poms that I cut out, stuffed, and sewed up myself. So there are still quite a few of those left. I have mostly white, but I think I have one or two left that are pink, purple, and blue multicolor. So I will have those. And I will also have bread pudding souffle progress keepers. This, again, was part of the kit that I did with Lynn at Sunshine and Bubblegum, the Brunch of Commanders kit. And I am now offering these outside of the kit. I think I only have 10 of these. And that's something else I don't plan to do again anytime soon because I don't really love working with the polymer clay. It's kind of something I like in short bursts. So I will have that. I will also have, y'all have seen on my Instagram, this is my Diagon Alley mini skein set. And I had these, the last time I had these was almost 2 years ago. I actually did these right after we got back from Universal Studio. So I felt inspired by some of the shops that we saw, and I kind of drew inspiration from, I believe the illustrated version of the Sorcerer's Stone had just come out. So I went through and I took some inspiration from the photos, the illustrations that he's done of Diagon Alley. So there's some new colors and some old colors in here, so I'm going to go through them. This is Florian Fortescue's Ice Cream Parlor. This is Scribbleless Writing Instruments, Elop's Owl Emporium. This is Flourish and Blots, Gringotts, Weasley Wizard Wheezes, and Ollivander's Wand Shop. So they are 10 grams each, 46 yards, and there's 70 grams total, so that is enough to knit a pair of socks if you knit them a little bit shorter or if you add heels and toes in a different color. So I will have quite a few of those. And just some assorted different skeins. I will have more Magnolia Blossom for those who have been wanting it. Plenty of yarns on Soft Sock, Lush MCN, Squish DK, Tough Sock. I have a little bit of shimmer, not a ton left. That went pretty well. I guess because you see the sparklies in person and it's very tempting. But
oh yeah.
Yeah, so I will do some previews on my Instagram.
What about the show colorway?
Oh, yes. My show colorway for DFW was called Roadside Bluebonnets, and I posted a photo of it on Instagram, and I sold out almost on the first day. I think by the end of the first day I had 2 or 3 skeins left. So I definitely didn't bring enough. So to make up for that, I am going to be doing, I have a full dye lot on Tough Sock that's ready to ship, and then after that I'm going to put up a dyed to order listing. So those who missed out can get it on whatever base they want. Turnaround time on that's probably going to be around 2 weeks because I have a wholesale order to work on and I have the Harry Potter Club. Although the Harry Potter Club will be done by Monday or Tuesday. So that's not really a big hurdle. It's just getting it done quickly. But that will be an option for those of you who missed out at the show or who couldn't make it to DFW. So speaking of the Harry Potter Club, I will show the Harry Potter colorway for March. I meant to show it on our last episode, or the episode we were going to record before we left, but we ended up not doing that, so I'm showing it now. I think everybody has received it except for a few of my customers in New Zealand and Australia. So if you have not received it and you don't want to be spoiled, please look away now, because I will be showing it. So this is March's colorway for the Harry Potter Club. It does not have a Harry Potter Club label because this is an extra skein that will be going into the shop in July. Yes, July. And this is called Fresh Pickled Toad. Fresh Pickled Toad. And it is inspired by a poem that Ginny Weasley sends a Singing Valentine poem to Harry in the second book. And it goes, his eyes are as green as a fresh pickled toad. His hair is as black as a chalkboard. I wish he was mine. He's really divine, the hero who conquered the Dark Lord. So
that's amazing.
That's the quote that I used for this month. And then after, like, because Harry sees the dwarf coming and he's dressed as like a Cupid. And Harry tries to run away and the dwarf tackles him and sits on his legs so he can deliver his Singing Valentine. So that is the inspiration for this month's colorway. Fresh Pickled Toad. And I actually have a skein of this on a solo base that I'm planning on using for a dotted raise speckle fade, I think. Because I just love this green. It's very yellow-green. There's some blue speckles. There's some reddish-brown speckles. So just a really fun, kind of crazy colorway, very suitable for March. So like I mentioned, April club colorways will go out probably Monday or Tuesday. A day, not late, because I say in the middle of the month. I usually try to get them out by the 15th, but this month the 15th is a Sunday. 15th is a Sunday, so I can't send it out on a Sunday. So Monday or Tuesday is going to be the day that they go out. And I am in talks with some makers who make Harry Potter paraphernalia. Not sure what word I want to use, but pins and keychains and different,
fun things,
bookmarks, different things. So I think getting an add-on, a handmade or a hand designed add-on, will be an option in the future, probably in a few months. The person I'm talking to right now is not in the U.S., so it may take a while to get here. So probably in the summer, I'm going to start doing that. Maybe not every month, but as an option for certain months that go with certain colorways. So
weren't you also thinking of adding the 20?
Oh yeah. This is new. We didn't talk about this last time.
No.
We have devised a way to make 20-gram minis out of the different bases. We have a new Nitty Naughty now that you can wind 20-gram minis.
I'm the mini girl.
Yes. Out of the BFL or the Stellina instead of just the soft sock. So I think starting next month, starting with June's Harry Potter Club colorway, I will be offering the option to add a 20-gram mini, because I know a lot of people use their skeins for heels for socks. So having a coordinating mini will help stretch the yardage a little further, although it is 100 grams, so most people can get a pair of socks out of 100 grams.
But you may decide you want to use the rest of the skein for something else.
Yeah, something, have some left over.
A lot of beautiful patterns are coming out lately to use minis or partial skeins with, so that might be something that you may keep in mind whenever you're knitting. That you're like, hey, if I can use a contrast color, then I've got more of this left over for something else.
So both the add-on extra and the mini skein will be optional, because I know a lot of people like the club the way that it is. I just think it's a fun place to experiment with trying new things. New colorways, new techniques, or new
products.
New products. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. So that is going to be an option starting in May with June's club. Hopefully that makes sense. May's club is currently up in the shop, and I am super excited for y'all to see what I've cooked up. So with that being said, I think that's all we have to talk about. Is that it?
I think that's it.
So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed our DFW recap.
We had a great time there.
We had an awesome time. The dates for next year, I almost said next week. The dates for next week are April 4th through the 7th, so it's almost the same time. And it's a fantastic show if you have a chance to go. We highly, highly recommend it. Everybody who works on it is fantastic. Completely volunteer run. Stephanie Pearl McPhee says it's one of her favorite shows because they treat her so well as a teacher. We will be attending next year. Even if I'm not vending, we will be attending as attendees.
As shoppers.
Shoppers maybe take a class or two. But I do want to, I'm going to see if vending again is going to fit into my schedule, because it was a very enjoyable experience. So, hope you enjoyed our recap. Hope you like seeing what we got and what we're working on and all that good stuff. So we will talk to y'all next time.
All right.